Alright, so one of the things that we've been learning about is making landscapes, and we're going to make a winter landscape. So we are going to be making a snowy landscape, and we're going to have it at night, which is why we're using a purple sky, because we're going to be using blues for our snow. So we're going to use this big piece of paper, the biggest piece of paper is going to be our background, and then for our backdrop, and then our background, and then our middle ground, and then our foreground. Now right now, this doesn't look a whole lot like real land. It doesn't look very natural. So we're going to use tearing fingers to make this look more natural. So we're going to tear across here. And if you need to draw a little bit of a line there to remind yourself which way to tear, then do that, because we want to make sure we tear this way. And we're going to tear this paper, and you can tear it so it looks a lot like a hill, like tearing close together and tearing up and down, or you can just tear it straight across to make it look more like a hill. That looks like a hill there. And then we're going to get some glue, and we're going to put the glue at the bottom line here. There's a line at the bottom there. And a line in the middle. And a line, not all the way at the top, just because we need to be tucking things behind there. So 3 lines, one at the bottom, one in the middle, and one at the top. Flip it over and glue down the background. Then you're going to get the medium blue, and again you just tear your piece of paper. And now that looks hilly. And again, you're going to add 3 lines of glue. This big space, 1, 2, 3. And remember, we're not going all the way to the very top. That way our glue won't push out of the top. Glue that down. And then we're going to do our light blue, which almost looks gray against these other blues, doesn't it? So we're going to get a light blue, and that is going to be our foreground. Tear that. And we're going to glue that one down. We're going to add 3 lines to this one too. 1, 2, 3. Now, one thing that we've learned before, and we're going to learn again, is things that are far, far away look itty bitty, and things that are up close look big. So we're going to have big trees in the foreground, and we need to have itty bitty trees in the background. And we're going to use, again, we're going to use tearing fingers to make our trees. Now one way to tear is to have our 2 fingers together and tear them close together. And when you tear close together, you can make your tear do what you want. If you just tear like that, your tear doesn't do what you want. So when you want your tear to do what you want, you put your 2 fingers close together, and then you can get your tear to do what you want. So we're going to have tiny trees in the back, and we're going to have big trees in the front, and we're going to have medium-sized trees in the middle. And if your tree is too big, you're like, oh, I want it a little smaller, then tear off the bottom. And that will make it even look even more tree-like. Remember, we want our trees to look like triangles. And if you are having trouble tearing your triangle, then go ahead and get a pencil and draw the triangle out first, and then use your tearing fingers to try to tear along that line. Remember, you're not going to get it exactly right. We don't want it to be exactly right because we want this to look natural. to have this speedy tree. Maybe a tree here and a tree there, maybe a tree behind that hill. And I can even use some of these scraps to make my tiny, tiny trees. Tiny, tiny tree all the way back here. And then we're going to glue these trees down. Just one little line will do. We don't need a big line. We don't need 3 lines. Just one will be fine. And for these tiny trees, you might only end up getting like a dot of glue. Make sure all stick down when they glue, because sometimes they like to curl. So stick them down really well. And one more tree. All right, all of these scraps get put in the recycling. Do not just throw them on the floor. Make sure you get all of them into the recycling bin, okay? Now, this is looking pretty good, but to make it look even better and even more awesome, you're gonna bring it up to the teacher. And this is a teacher job. Because what I have is I've got some white tempera paint and a toothbrush. And don't worry, I've never used this toothbrush. It's not a dirty toothbrush. And I never will use this toothbrush on my mouth. I'm going to use this to make snow on my landscape here. And I just hold it upside down and I'm going to flick, flick, flick. That completes the project. So now it looks like we have a snowy winter nighttime landscape. And then this goes in the drying rack to dry.